Ladies and gentlemen, it is finals time here for the $300 minimum 4v4 variant. Of course, taking place here on February 22nd. We've got MAGIK and Vex battling it out here in a best of 3 to decide it all. And loading up here for a hardpoint on London Docks. It will be Rampy off the beginning, finding 2 quick kills and trying to hop inside of the hill, the hardpoint rather, for some early time. And of course, both these teams have found themselves here for a reason. Been able to watch MAGIK actually in their first 2 matchups. In round number 1, they were able to take down Enter Uprise in a 2-to-1 fashion, and just got off taking down Rain in a hot 2-0. Keeping in mind, Rain, you don't really know who those guys are. Well, of course, that's Hitman, Lisp, Zeus, Jet Li, and Neon. That team, last Friday, actually finished in 2nd in the 4v4 variant Prime tournament. Of course, that was a $2,000 prize pool, so got quite a bit of cash and an incredibly solid showing as MAGIK, once they kind of got that first series under their belts, they have been playing stellar. And it's really kind of came off the back of a solid, consistent overall team play. And in their first series, it was really kind of, in the hard point, it was a matter of Flawless and Schillez just not having a solid showing. MAGIK and TTiny were kind of the all-stars when it came down to the next hard point. In their next series, Schillez had a pretty solid showing. Flawless was there. MAGIK ended up finishing 35-13 and also went on a 13 kill spree. When you got a guy slaying out like that, I mean, it is just so difficult to really kind of provide much more than that. One thing that, though, when it comes down to facing off against a squad like Vex, is this squad is scary from time to time. I mean, I've seen them play in a few different tournaments and whatnot, and just really watch them kind of break apart teams. They've won a few of our $300 minimums in the past, and it's really just kind of came down to realizing and kind of just taking advantage over what the enemy's mistakes are. So it's like if they don't correctly rotate, if, you know, one player kind of goes on streaks and just one kind of player is having a bad performance, I mean, they can capitalize on their positives and make the enemy really struggle on their negatives. So when you face off against a squad like Vex, you cannot make hardly any, if any, mistakes at all. As rotations comes in here toward Dock Warehouse, of course, can kind of be considered the money hill for London Docks. It will be the initial few points going the way of MAGIK, however, retaken from the boys on Vex, but it looks like MAGIK not content with this. Flawless and TTiny finding kills just outside through middle. And Vicious doing some damage as well on his prior teammates. Keeping in mind, Vicious, I know I've been mentioning this throughout the tournament and was kind of excited if we got to see these 2 teams battling out, but MAGIK actually, along with Flawless, previously teamed up with Vicious on Merkin Clay. And at one point, actually, 3 out of the 4 players in MAGIK, Flawless, and even TTiny were on Merkin alongside of Vicious. TTiny was actually a little bit of a sub-in for the team for a short time. Never was the official 4th, but we actually got to see them play in a few tournaments with that exact roster. And in place of TTiny, they ended up picking up different players and kind of tried to experiment from time to time. But now looking on, it's kind of nice to see a little bit of a Merkin clan kind of reunion, essentially, is what we're being able to witness. But right now, it is Vicious and co. who are just destroying, grabbing quite a few seconds when it came down to the last set of rotations inside of 10. And now looking on inside of barrel building, that quick rotation. And one thing that's so nice about locking down the hill control inside of 10 or inside of Dock's Warehouse is just that quick rotation. It's just a matter of a few steps, holding on to those closer spawns toward your side. And that's one thing that I think in a lot of hardpoint maps that kind of make them kind of more evened out is the factor of having a money hill, and then the next hill right after that is across the map. And that's just one thing that's very difficult for one team to try to control. It's almost like a matter of just sacrificing the last seconds of time and kind of moving forward as it looks like Lyric having a flamethrower in the callout known as Fire, a fitting place for a flamethrower to sit in. As he and Brack are starting to light things up, Lyric coming through Docks is getting ready to pick off one toward his right. That should be on to one that's going to be actually on the Schillez. So breaking apart that setup in toward Docks. And now the spawns have flipped. It's really only player back here is split number 4 and Flawless as TTiny drops. But it looks like Schillez making his way through mid-map is not content with dropping this one. Flawless finally drops in the back lines, but it looks like now a solid water push coming through here from MAGIK, trying to get themselves back inside of the hard point, get those seconds back on board because they've quickly found themselves in a rock and a hard place. His last player alive is Schillez, and holding this one down valiantly finds 2, needing the 3rd, and it's going to be Rampy, and he also drops what was a potential 3v1 situation. Turns into the lone man staying alive and going on a spree. And right after Schillez, you're baiting off the fact of having the last few enemies coming from the spawn, but his teammates are there to pick up the kills. There's actually no one sitting there. And as Rampy finds one, Schillez finds another. Let's actually go on board with Schillez really quickly. Has earned streaks, and just like that, has found the artillery barrage. This man has started to heat up. Compared to round 1, his current finals performance is a total turnaround. However, though, currently down in this match, needing to pick it up. As they've done quite a bit of damage when it comes down to the last few hills, especially toward Doc's Crane. But as 3 fall, as actually a team kill comes in from VexX on his own player, Brack. It will make maybe the next set of rotations a little bit more awkward. But one thing that I really like about VexX is you already noticed, they're holding down hardpoint time, and with about maybe 10 to 11 seconds, they're sending the entire squad toward the next hardpoint, sending the entire team toward the next hill to try and fight for it. That's something that you really like to watch from the guys on VexX. They're just always a step ahead. They're playing chess while you're playing checkers, always being mindful of the opponent. And that's one thing that really kind of puts them a step ahead of a lot of different rosters. The reason why you kind of look at this line and be like, well, it's not that much different. It's just a matter of them winning the gunfights that matter the most, the ones at the beginning. Kind of always making sure the spawns are in their control. So with that, a fire pellet raining from the skies to try and help out the boys here for MAGIK, as battles going on quite a bit throughout this hard point, but it looks like it will be VexX escaping with a few. As MAGIK will also respond for a pair at the end. Valuable 15 seconds being given away, as right now, if you're Schillez, you have to win this, and Brack will make him pay. My goodness. Well, you've seen Schillez have some good moments from time to time, of course, goes on the streak. An unfortunate misstep in that last gun engagement is now coming in toward Doc's warehouse. Yet again, initial time going the way of MAGIK. They did a great job at locking down the early time in Doc's, but it was just a matter of the guys from VexX breaking this hill, and also, along with getting time on Doc's, getting hill time inside of barrels. This is where a big chunk of the points is going to go down. Looks the flamethrower in the back lines. Lyric playing passively, and it's working out incredibly well for him. Thankfully, Schillez is there to come through the flank. His life will be traded in the process, but a worthy exchange at that. 134 to 198. Still an advantage toward the way of the boys on VexX. Continuous kills. Play number 5, it will be Brack. A 1v1 that basically settles the factor of kind of getting spawns for his team, along with a big chunk of about 16 seconds. But take a look. Underground push, along with the push coming through coal room. Play number 1 and play number 4, making this push toward the backside, trying to get their spawns in their favor. We'll see how this works out for them. They need some more teammate support. They need the kind of kills to come forward, but they have no one initializing the gunfights. Play number 3 is the only player kind of trying to test things out. And as TTiny finds one, he also finds the second. 2 big kills coming in from TTiny. Quite single-handedly, making the other side of the push happen, and he's not done just yet, finding 3 kills literally by himself, holds 1 lane of the hard point, while Schillez will call in the streak. Calls in the artillery barrage. It's going to make things a little bit awkward now for the side on VexX. This is exactly what they were able to really grab quite a bit of the time on, was in these last 2 hard points. And now they're starting to struggle, but not if Brack has anything to say about it. Comes through with the STG-44, and now looking on the last set of rotations. This was a fantastic hardpoint held from the boys on MAGIK. Things getting closer, but it's all about that rotation. You see how important it is for these blue arrows, aka the guys on MAGIK, to really make that rotation forward, as it looks like a unfortunate team kill comes in. Lyric ends up dying because of his teammate VexX. And so this is going to be an awkward hardpoint to try and retake. 25 seconds left in a full 4-man stack going through that mid-map. They need some support, but Schillez ends up finding 2. Lyric, yet again, with that flamethrower instead of fire. A prominent place for it to sit. As here comes the rush. Schillez, no more streaks to work with as the fighter pot comes in from his teammate. It's actually going to be MAGIK trying to clear things out, and it could work out well. VexX, the last player alive at the back lines, needs to try and hold for as long as he possibly can. Does take out one. Brack is there to greet them with a nade at their doorstep. MAGIK ends up following, and just like that, Plitter by Brack, hopping inside the hill, ends up finding one. Only 10 seconds left. A nade to greet him as well. As Doc's Crane will not be the final hard point of this rotation. The lead in prime control of Vex, but what can MAGIK do? Lyric coming from that side cut area ends up getting traded. Kills going back and forth, and so vigorously MAGIK trying to keep themselves in it every trade, every kill. Every second that ticks away, they have to be inside of the hard point. They have to be playing better. It's not about playing alongside the enemy, it's about being better. Players coming from cut. 41 seconds subsiding these two as Lyric ends up falling. Brack ends up finding a majority of the kills, and a big 1v1 will go the way of Rampy. Now 7 seconds left, and right now, if you are on the side of MAGIK, you can't afford to let this time go to waste. There's not going to be anyone here, and just like that, hardpoint on London Docks will be closed out. 250 to 200, and going the way of VexX Gaming, alongside Assault Performance coming in from a multitude of players. It really kind of came down to that initial lead after one of the first side of rotations inside of Doc's Crane, and the rotation coming in toward barrel building was absolutely crucial. We, of course, can kind of take a look here at the end. Rampy finishing off 30 and 25, along with a minute and 51 inside of the hill. Brack 28 and 25. And on the opposite end for MAGIK, we see 27 and 27. Even performance from Schillez, and MAGIK finishing off 29 and 22. Of course, take a look here at the box score as far as how all the hard points kind of took place as far as seconds are considered. Stat shoot 65 to 57 in favor of Vex. Main Street, pretty much a different story. Fairly close, though, about a 13-second difference in favor of Vex yet again. Warehouse, though, 59 to 36. Barrels, 51 to 44. And Crane, pretty much even, only a 1-second difference between these two lineups. Really what you kind of see, the meat, kind of the middle of these hills, both Main Street and Warehouse is where the guys on Vex really kind of saw a lot of success. And a majority of the initial time, and we kind of look at barrel building on the first side, I mean, a majority of those 51 seconds came from the first side alone. So when we're kind of taking a look at this map, it was a matter of taking a look at the first side. They kind of got a big majority of Main Street, Warehouse, and Barrels all in a kind of a row there is the reason why we see them take this game. Of course, 50 seconds toward the end of this match. They hold down Crane, MAGIK holds down Crane pretty well. But for the most part, like I said, it was the matter of the first rotations, those three hills. They grab a huge majority of those points, especially inside of Doc's Warehouse and especially inside of barrel building as well. Just really kind of quick succession. Vex, they can really make you pay. And like I said, any mistakes, MAGIK, they started to have some negatives come their way, players not winning certain 1v1 engagements, and Vex obviously capitalized off of it. I mean, really just kind of one moment through this game really kind of changes things. It changes the entire tide of this match, and the lead that they were holding kind of heading into what was the second side, heading into what could have been a closing moment for MAGIK. The lead is just so great that really the guys from Vex don't have a whole lot to struggle with. I mean, at one point it was like 220 to 170, and Vex was having some really good moments, like having some kills go their way, and I was like, okay, maybe if this would have happened a little bit earlier, we could see maybe the guys from MAGIK close at a hard point. But it was, like I said, the initial lead that really gives Vex the advantage overall. Like I said, alongside of Rampy and Brack having strong performances in this game, which is exactly what I said to be kind of looking out for. Be looking out for guys like Rampy, Brack, and Vicious to really be putting up highlight plays. But now looking on here, for some Search and Destroy, of course, Ardent Forest will be closing us out for the night, whether or not we do see a map 3 or not. Also, will be CTF and Ardent Forest as well. So curious to see how maybe or not we could get to a CTF. Haven't been able to watch Vex play in this game mode. Granted, I'm not like looking at CTF for Vex and I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel really confident in them winning a game mode like that. I think if you're Vex, you're really not even really wanting to worry against facing off a squad like wanting to face off against a squad like MAGIK in that particular game mode. I think you want to close it out and Search and Destroy. You want to finish this one off with a 2-0 and carry that momentum, right? Because I think Vex is more of a talented respawn team, but I think they really rely heavily on their hard points. I think generally, though, when you're facing off against a team like this in CTF, they have that veteranship, they have that knowledge. Ardent Forest plays slower. You kind of moving your way up the map is a lot at a different pace. It's not like a London Docks. It's not like, the other maps as well. It's not like a Flak Tower. It's where, these kills come time after time after time. You make your way up the map. You gain map positioning. It's really about smarts, and it's probably the closest CTF that we have in this game like typical CTF back in like Black Ops 2 and whatnot. What you're kind of used to is kind of that slower paced gameplay, making your way up the map and kind of player counting and kind of, progressively making your way up through all 3 of those lanes. So I think this one will favor MAGIK if we do see a map number 3 on this map. Granted, obviously things can play out a different way, but I think if you're Vex, you want to close up the search and destroy because you do not want to face off against a hot team like MAGIK in that game mode. MAGIK has looked fantastic in Search and Destroy. They've looked fantastic in CTF, and it's really kind of came off as strong performances, especially in Search and Destroy, from a multitude of players. But primarily it has been TTiny and MAGIK, or TTiny and Flawless. Those are kind of the main players that have been looking good in Search and Destroy. But keep in mind, TTiny, the sniper rifle in his hands has been magical tonight. He's been hitting some highlight plays, definitely ones that we're going to be seeing again, especially on our YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com/UMG events. Looking forward to obviously watching those again. But as we load in here for some Search and Destroy on Arden Forest, if we could, I'd like to take a look at TTiny's point of view off the start to kind of get a little bit of an idea as to what he's going to be rocking. And take a look at that duelist being brought out here for the beginning play. As I was curious, maybe we have potentially some player agreements, some gentlemen's agreements. Is just like that, the Kar 98K is out in full force. The second kill coming forward along with Schillez' first blood. Coming around the backside and say goodbye to Brack. Rampy 1v4. And that is how Duelist works, ladies and gentlemen. It's unfortunate. It really is. You hate to face off against it. Like I said, I mean, look at that. It's so good. Like, it's literally unbeatable. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, I was imagining, gentlemen's agreements can kind of come into matches. I know gentlemen's agreements right now kind of cater on the factor of FG42, Kar 98K, and also Duelist. And right now you have TTiny kind of utilizing both of those. So I'm not sure if this is just kind of a agreement that's been taken out of play, or if it's just a matter of TTiny being like, hey, this class works for me, so I'm going to kind of utilize it. So swaps back to the machine pistol. Probably doing that after finding the ace, actually. No, not the ace. That was a kill he found in this round. Apologies. But could find the 5th. But the reason why he probably switched the machine pistol is just a little bit easier in close quarter range, or maybe he just felt bad for using it. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I prefer the... Okay, takes out Brack, makes it look easy. That's all you got to say about it. I mean, if that was anyone else, I'd be like, wow, that's an amazing play from TTiny. It's just expected at this point. I mean, he has just played so well with that sniper rifle. He's used it on every Search and Destroy map, and a lot of the times there's some Search and Destroy maps in certain positions where, kind of retaking his sight. This guy's been doing it with the sniper rifle all night. He's making plays with the sniper that shouldn't be done. Goodbye, Vicious. You can see he's feeding off of it. He wants the last player, and he will find it. TTiny taking over these first 2 rounds. This man, like his teammate's name, is flawless. Going off. Probably could have found this kill with the sniper rifle, but smartly pulls out the machine pistol and gets things done. I mean, there's a reason why these 2 rounds have gone the way that they have. He's literally found 7 out of the 8 kills. He's 150 points away from an artillery barrage. I mean, what is that? Unbelievable stuff from this man, TTiny. We can only give him the service of continuing on. It looks like he's actually going to have the PPSH out. And the reason why he pulls the PPSH out is a few extra shots go in the body there from Rampy, is because he wants the initial fight. He wants the first blood. If he dies, it's fine. Just to guarantee streaks, that 3rd streak is so big for him. And so while he doesn't earn the artillery barrage, it is a worthy exchange none the least. Doesn't earn it, but at least have the opportunity to try and grab it. Lyric challenging from that side of you, and just like that, players start to stack up, one going the opposite way. Brack finishes off one, spots the head of MAGIK. He knows exactly where he is. He wants the hat trick. Can he find it, though? Can he chalk up the first round for his team? And he will do it. The 1v2 along with the hat trick coming in from Brack. As Vex get the chalk up there first. And really, if you're MAGIK, I mean, TTiny has just given you a multitude of confidence and has taken away the overall momentum that Vex previously had. And it's a matter of when you're playing competitively, it's just kind of having short-term memory in some cases, not worrying or not really remembering the reason why you lost the last hard point, the feelings that you had after the last hard point. It's kind of moving forward and having a different frame of mind, and TTiny is instilling that right now in his teammates. After losing that last round, thank goodness for Vex, because now we should have at least a little bit of a closer search and destroy, but still though, I mean, this guy is just unbelievable with that sniper. And here comes the fire pilot from above. As you can see, the two-man stack on either bomb site, going to make it a little bit awkward for him to try to take out a multitude of players. Will take out one. Other 3 players walking mountain, so not able to spot them. Thankfully, has taken out enough to where his team has the advantage, but not for long. Vicious doing the damage, ends up finding 2. Now, just like that, TTiny will fall as well. A phenomenal play coming in from the guys on Vex as they just make a full-man flank. What happens in the last play is I believe it's TTiny, right, who rocks the fighter pilot. So the fighter pilot gets utilized in a round where they don't win it. So in some cases, a fighter pilot gets wasted if you kind of look at the overall scheme of things. 2 players are on either bomb site. The 2 guys who don't get shot at, both guys who are kind of utilizing mountain, making their way through forest, literally just make their way all the way around the map, make their way all the way around the flank, and pick up 2 easy kills. So massive props to the guys of Vex for kind of realizing the situation at hand. They know where the final 2 players are at, especially where TTiny is. As the TTiny has continued actually to pull out the PO, or not PO8s, but the duelist here. Kind of looking on. It looks like 2 versus 2 situation. Bomb has been planted, and goodbye, Lyric. You didn't even stand a chance. Brack, you do a little bit, but not for much longer. Oh my, duelist. It is what it is. I mean, how do you describe this play, right? I mean, I don't even know. Like, I literally knew the gunfight was over. Like, literally a 1v2 situation. TTiny technically has 2 pistols at his side, and I knew that he was going to win the fight. It's just how it works, man. It's just how it works sometimes. TTiny getting the round back for his team, and it has a glide bomb in his back pocket. They don't actually utilize smokes to get inside of you, so TTiny's life will be sacrificed for that reason. Flawless, though, with the nice nade. Their goal basically is to just try to get Rampy out of this position, make their way inside of you, but Lyric has realized that. So you have 2 players shooting. Lyric does take out Flawless, and so MAGIK gets dropped from the flank. Schillez ends up finding 1. Mano a mano, Schillez versus Brack. If you're Brack, this is a huge situation for you to try to even things up, and I believe Schillez has spotted him, knows where he is, and he will take him out. Great line side held there from Schillez, as it will now be a 4-2 advantage in this search and destroy coming in from the guys on MAGIK. And despite the fact that MAGIK doesn't even have smokes kind of toss out through mid-map, we've been seeing them do that quite a bit on offense so far throughout tonight's search and destroy tournament. They're able to escape with the round. Incredibly surprised by that play. Looks like TTiny swaps back toward the sniper. Should be seeing the head of someone soon. And just like that, there goes 1. There goes 2. Flawless, and to find the first blood, though. Brack, though, coming on the flank. He's found a lane. He ends up dropping 1. And now just like that, him and Vicious, they can work on a play. They have to be wary of their flank. And at any moment, MAGIK could be making a play here, but it's Brack who takes out 2. Here's the 3rd in his midst, and he will find that one as well. Brack responding in this round and keeping his team up. They were cornered. They had nowhere to go. But Brack finds a way. Bringing his team Brack. No, you didn't see that. You didn't hear that. I didn't say that. No one heard it. Loading in here toward round number 8. 4-3 advantage for MAGIK. They can put themselves on map point, of course, being down right now 0-1 in this series. After losing London Docks hardpoint 250-200. I think it would be a fitting way to close out tonight's tournament if we did see a CTF on Arden Forest. Probably would see overtime. I feel like every time I cast CTF on Arden Forest, or every time it's really played, overtime is expected, if not predicted. And if you might be curious as to why TTiny couldn't find anyone there, it's because all players on the opposition team are utilizing that mountain, and Lyric has realized I can pull up the FG42. If he's rocking duelist PO8s or duelist pistols, I can pull up the FG42 and play that game also. Lyric locking down this B side, and right now I'm not sure if they realize the bomb is down based off like kind of where they're rotating to. They can kind of just hang back in this position when you're thinking about it. So as Lyric does rotate forward, he does know exactly where bomb is. Schillez will fall. Just like that, Tiny finds himself in a 1v3. They want to find him. They want to take him out, make him pay. Finding one, but not the second. So smart play coming in from the guys on Vex is essentially they kind of just work the FG42. They get it inside of that top B-dom area. As ladies and gentlemen, this is the final time you're going to see the FG42 probably utilized for a very long time, especially in competitive play. Of course, speaking in mind of the patch that's taking place tomorrow. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out Charlie Intel on Twitter. Give you a lot of the details about tomorrow's patch. A lot of things happening. FG42 ban, a lot of ADS changes to a lot of weapons, making the SMGs and the ARs a little bit more different, and making the MP40 a lot stronger of a weapon. But take a look at this performance from Tiny. 14 and 6, finds 2 kills off the start of the round, takes out half the opposition, and now hands it over on a silver platter toward his teammates. But can they chomp down Brack and Lyric? Last 2 up, their positions are known, and now you're going to see play number 7. Flawless make his transition back, but it's going to be MAGIK who finds one. Brack is there for the trade. Now it's Flawless versus Brack, and Flawless will win it. A huge 1v1 for the boys on Vex to win. And in similar situations, Flawless versus Brack and Schillez versus Brack. They've taken him out in that back cave position. Really, he's just kind of being in an open area. Granted, he doesn't know where those shots are coming from, and Peeker's advantage, of course, I'll give it to you, but still, man, needs to have more cover. And look at this rush coming in from the boys on MAGIK. Early established push coming in toward A, but it's quickly foiled. Brack trying to close things out. And Lyric and Rampy now find themselves in a 2v2 versus MAGIK and Flawless. Lyric trying to back up, needs some teammate support. Does dolphin dive to safety, but at the same time, Rampy ends up dropping Flawless. MAGIK in a 1v2, and he will be picked off as well. We're seeing a round 11 for map number 2. 1 round away from this tournament being over, and 1 round away from potentially seeing a map number 3, a closeout map. And if so, we're not leaving Armed Force. We're staying here and putting flags on either side of the map for some capture the flag. Next round underway. MAGIK back on offense. We just saw them make the push toward A. Didn't work out, but it's Tiny yet again finding the first blood valiantly with the sniper rifle. It's the Kar 98K. It may be a little bit controversial, but he's finding it regardless. 15 and 7 now for this man. Absolutely going off, and he'll add 16 to it as well. Finding 2 yet again off the start. An immediate 2 versus 4 situation. And what can Vex do? Trying to pick up the pieces. Brack and Rampy last alive. Series on their shoulders. Bomb has been planted, and just like that, the final 2 are taken out. And we are seeing a map number 3, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight between MAGIK and VexX Gaming, along with an incredible search and destroy performance from this man Tiny. Finishes off with what, 15 kills, if not 16 kills? Finishes, wait, he finds 17. He finds 2 more. 17 and 7 from Tiny in this search and destroy. My word. That is unbelievable stuff. As we can go ahead and take a look here at the round-ending scorecard, as, of course, when it kind of comes down to rounds, kind of came in quick succession. I mean, for the first 8 rounds, they kind of come in groups. Like, one team wins the offense, the next wins the defense. Same thing for Vex, kind of back and forth. But when it kind of comes down to the end, of course, round 11, it's MAGIK who comes up clutch. They get things done. And really, when you have a player finishing off with 17 kills, you want to talk about the momentum, the boost that gives you? I mean, there were times in this round or throughout different rounds in this game we're looking at TTiny, and it's like he's literally cleared out half of the enemy. Like, he's literally cleared out half the enemy team. He's already giving you a 3v2 advantage if he's already dropped. I mean, just unbelievable play with a sniper rifle throughout this entire tournament from TTiny. I mean, he's been going off in a number of different search and destroys, whether it's been in the search and destroy versus Rain or whether it's been the search and destroy versus Enterprise. I mean, he has just been having a game. I think in the USS Texas actually versus Enterprise, he ended up finishing with 12 kills. So kind of leaping that total, finishing up with 5 more, and his teammates obviously get the victory here in some search and destroy, winning this one. Like I said, in round 11, it goes all the way. But speaking of all the way, seeing some Armed Force CTF. Guys, if you haven't done so already, put your predictions in the chat below. I said I was worried. I thought Vex needed to close out that search and destroy. Confidence is no longer with them. It's definitely under MAGIK. Tiny's feeling super confident. Is giving his team loads of momentum right now because you get to imagine, I mean, we see round 11 with Tiny finishing off 17 kills. He is literally putting his teammates in the backpack in that last S&D. However, consistency is key when it comes into CTF. We've seen the guys on MAGIK already close at a CTF tonight. That one was on Flat Tower. Everyone played consistently. Schillez was having a really good game, along with MAGIK and Tiny playing solid as well. It's going to be a team effort for MAGIK. Vex, how do they pick up the pieces? How do they play? Where does the kind of morale come from? Right now, if you're Vex right now, right? For example, you're playing against a team who's experienced in this game mode, and you're playing against Schillez, who obviously said has won a title back in Black Ops 2, UMG Dallas 2013, along with the guys on Vanquish. You got MAGIK, who's been playing for a very long time. You got Flawless, who's been playing since, like what, like Modern Warfare 2, something along those lines, like part of one of the original Optic Gaming rosters. So, I mean, you have guys who have been playing this game, who have been playing Call of Duty for a very long time. They know how CTF works. They have a lot of confidence coming into a game like this because they've played it a number of different times. They played it in like 8 different Call of Duty titles. They know how this game mode works. And now facing off against a team like Vex, if you're in Vex's shoes, someone has to kind of step up. The player counting has to be there, but overall, communication is going to play key. We just saw Arden Forrest go through, and a lot of moments for Vex, it was a matter of Brack being in 1v1 engagements, and he was kind of out in the open. And that's going to be a pretty big factor, especially when it comes into CTF. A 7.5 respawn delay. That's a big deal when it comes into CTF. So when it comes down to this game, as we get ready to kind of load into this one, be wary of your life. Player counting is big. And overall consistency is going to reign true. You cannot rely on just Tiny having a strong performance. Everybody has to play well. And if you're on the side of X, communication. Be wary of it. As it looks like off the beginning, MAGIK and Flawless combining for 2. As the red side, of course, which will be the boys on Vex, progressing forward. And what I like out of the side of MAGIK right now is clearing out every lane. They've been kind of clearing out every single kill. Only Tiny is yet to die up to this point. The flank comes forward, and just like that, successful grab early on from Schillez. And see all 3 players spawning up, coming in through that kind of side through ruins. They're having to make their full-on sprint in toward the enemy flag. As it looks like it will be player number 8, Tiny. Perfect player to be in this position, but he ends up dropping. And that's going to halt the flag coming in from Schillez, and he ends up dying as well. Vicious ends up taking you out, but there's no one there for the return. It looks like player number 4 is going to be there. Rampy is going to get the return. And so now on the opposite end, it will be a flag that's returned as well. So Tiny and Flawless were there for the kills. Flawless, by the way, starting off 4-0. Definitely be wary of this man. Player number 3 tries to take him out. He's not able to do it. And when we talk about streaks, so influential, so important. When it comes down to a game mode like this, if Flawless was able to stay alive and at least earn 2 out of the 3 of those streaks, I mean, that would be big. Whether on offense or defense. As both teams try to establish control, you kind of see them swapping over toward that FG42. I think once the duelist was brought out from Tiny and the S&D, it's kind of like, okay, all right, we're playing this way. Brass knuckles out. Let's do this. Let's dance, essentially is what they're all saying. Let's dance and make CTF and Arden Forest a memorable one. As 2 minutes expire in the first half, Flawless has got streaks. He's yet to die, kind of living up to his gamer tag. Now the player toward his right. Can he remain that way? Rampy instead of Crater ends up taking him out, but Schillez yet again has gone for the flag grab and making his way toward his teammates inside of ruins. Right now, if you're player number 3, this is a big play for him to make. He's the lead man, needs to kind of shut down this push. Tiny watching over. Here comes the push, though. Player number 2 and player number 3. They have to try to stop him with something. Lyric is there now. Schillez is trying to escape with his life. The guards have fallen. The lead blockers have dropped. And where are the kills coming from? MAGIK ends up getting taken down. Rampy finding both of those. So now on the opposite end, it's VexX who has the flag in hand. Can he make it home is the thing. No one going to be there for the challenge. So just like that, what seemed like a play coming in from Schillez comes as far as a return. And VexX, who grabs the flag on the opposite end to put the guys on Vex up 1-0. Brack finding 2. Finding 3rd. Nearly takes out his teammate. Nice kind of control there of the weapon. It looks like players spawning the back of the base here in Bridge. This could be very scary. If you can kind of keep them in that backside bridge spawn, this is very worrisome. If you are the guys on MAGIK, if you're a fan of MAGIK, you need to get out of this. 2 end up dropping, 3 fall. Flawless, the last person alive. He's just trying to stay up for as long as he possibly can. Smart play coming in from Flawless. Granted, while he will fall, he held valiantly as long as he possibly could. 2 players now coming in through Forest. Player number 6, player number 8. Both Schillez and TTiny are here to try to make the defensive stop, if not turn it into an offensive one. Nade gets tossed. Nothing found in player number 2. That's going to be VexX. Trying to stop this push before it even happens. Big kills happening to either side of the map. Rampy will find one. The defensive hold comes through. And just like this is going to be another flag capture going the way of Vex. And as on offense and defense, solid pushes coming through. Rampy was able to kind of grab the flag along with having his teammates solidify that a push was not going to be made through that back bunker side. As now Brack looking at a 6-free, 8-4 right now. Has got the mortar strike along with the glide bomb and fighter pilot. They are looking solid, but only a 2-possession advantage. We've seen bigger leads like this come and go. I say bigger leads, I mean bigger leads than what obviously is currently on the scoreboard. Because 2-0, while it is a nice kind of scoreline to hold, it's by no means unbeatable. Like that's for sure. And Arden Forest, it's a fairly stable lead, of course, obviously. When you're talking about London Docks 2-0, I mean that could be expired in an instant. But when it comes down to a high point like Arden Forest, it can be difficult. It can be awkward. And as we switch sides, right? I mean, I think personally a lot of teams in the competitive scene prefer to kind of have that back bridge spawn. So now kind of swapping sides, we're going to see the boys on MAGIK be on the least favorable side. And the reason why we kind of prefer the other side's a lot more open. There's a lot more opportunities to kind of spawn up and have more control over the flag just because it's in a lot more of an open area. But as Brack kicks things off with 2 early kills, it's going to make a pretty awkward spawn right now for the guys on MAGIK. Because like I said, the only spawn that MAGIK's really going to get is either through back bell, which is near that kind of broken side through ruins, or in just back bunker side, just in the back of the map. And the reason why we kind of call that a problem is just because once you kill players in quick succession, you know exactly where they're going to be. So as they find this kill, right, Flawless and MAGIK off spawn, they have no shot. They have no opportunity to kind of kill these players. So that's the reason why you prefer to be on the opposite end, just because once you spawn up, you really don't have an advantage anymore. But if you're spawning in back bridge, you have the opportunity to at least kind of have a fading shot, kind of a fading opportunity to kind of take out players. But MAGIK just realized there's one more player here. Brack is still alive, and he'll take him out. At the same time, TTiny's escaped with the flag for his team. Now things get interesting. The streaks beginning to be called in from Brack. He actually has the flag in his hand, and he'll take out the other man. Schillez will fall. And now looking on here with Brack, he still has streaks in his back pocket. Player number 6 got incredibly close to him, though. Schillez was not far away from taking out Brack, and I'm not sure exactly what the call was. And now if you're Brack, you're feeling a little bit nervous. Players moving up through the map. Or excuse me, if you're TTiny right now, you're feeling a little bit nervous. Apologies for that. But MAGIK does get dropped. At the same time, VexX finding 2 big ones. And where is TTiny located? Where actually is TTiny? We can actually go to his point of view really quick. So, back the map on bunker. Brack in the back of the map on bridge. And right now, if you're Vex, like, you're pretty cool with this, right? You're like, hey, we're We have the lead, like, right now, kind of a permanent 1v2, as it looks like Flawless makes the sneak push, and Tiny is there, quite literally, as I get surprised. Vex do as well. But in the middle of their communication, absolutely get surprised because somehow someone has made it to the side at the same time. Flawless has escaped with the flag. He's on the run. But here come the streaks. Desperately trying to take him out as Brack will do the damage, but no one is there to pick up the pieces. And so just like that, here comes some more streaks. Brack doing all that he possibly can, trying to delay. But can it work out? Where is the players at? Where are they lingering? Flawless grabbed the flag, my friend. It's out in the open. Where are the players going to come from? And just like that, the Dolphin Dive comes in. Lyric will save the flag capture along with the 2 streaks from Brack. What insane plays from Vex. It looked to be an even game. But it's now a still 1 possession advantage toward the guys on Vex. It was a grind to try to get that flag back. But literally, it was the guys on MAGIK who had that flag so farly pushed up that if Brack doesn't go on the streak toward the end of the first half, there is no way in the world that flag even has an opportunity to get redrawn back. But talk about a play, a Dolphin Dive that comes in from Lyric to save the day, along with the prior streaks from Brack. My voice is nearly lost at this point just because of what an insane tournament that we've had tonight, especially the CTF. My word, minute and 20 left on the clock. Of course, overtime is still possible. And right now, if you're MAGIK, I mean, that's got to take the wind out of your sails, right? I mean, you've got to be a little bit frustrated, maybe even on tilt, at the fact that you were so close, and yet so far, no singing lyrics. I'm not about to. I don't have the voice to sing right now, or otherwise I would. But Flawless finding a much-needed kill kind of through Fireside as the pushes start to become a little bit less, maybe 2 more pushes in total is what the guys on MAGIK have left in the tank, because they're going pretty slow here. They're going to be playing for kills as the Blue Arrows start to play passively. Smart play from Lyric, hiding in that corner. Does aggressively rush out, so 2 players fall. Big one found from Flawless. He finds double. Brack is alive in the back lines, though. Here comes the smoke to try to limit his vision, but he knows exactly where they are. He tosses out a nade, finds 2, and he finds the 3rd as well. Takes out 1 onto MAGIK and letting them know single-handedly Brack has ruined what would have been a comeback from the boys on MAGIK. Flawless desperately trying to be here, and Brack will close this one out on a 4 spree. Finishes off 22-10. And what a play from this man. Stop the streaks. Kind of called in those streaks early to stop the play early on. And when he's the last man up, they toss a smoke in front of his face. He stops it again. Unbelievable play from Brack without question. The MVP of this last CTF, if not this final tournament series, as he will finish off 22-10. A number of different insane plays going to close things out. But take a look at the scorecard there for the guys on MAGIK. 9-19 there from Tiny. Schillez 11-16. However, Flawless though goes 20-16. I mean, talk about a turnaround as far as like who was really kind of dominating in the different game modes. Tiny was having a very strong performance through a lot of this tournament. Unfortunately, kind of slows down toward the end of this match. Finishes off double negative, but what a way to close things down. I mean, back and forth play literally to the end, as it will be the guys on Vex who do close out tonight's tournament and are your victors, of course. Congratulations to Vicious, Brack, Rampy, and Lyric. Vicious does get his, in some cases, kind of revenge against his old teammates in both MAGIK and Flawless. But still, though, I mean, what a tournament that was. I mean, obviously massive props to the guys on MAGIK. They really proved me wrong. I'm not going to lie. I mean, literally in their round 1 matchup where they face off against Inter Uprise, that was a really solid team who made some noise in the prime on last Friday. I'm thinking, okay, Inter Uprise probably going to close this one out in map 3, if not map 2. MAGIK takes them out in a 2-1 fashion. We load into MAGIK versus Rain. Rain ends up finishing 2nd place in the prime from last Friday. MAGIK ends up 2-0ing them. So massive props to the guys on MAGIK, right? I think really if they can kind of have that consistency if both Flawless and Schillez and the respawns can kind of play, or at least in the hard points, right? It's fair to say. If they can play well in the hard points, kind of do what they do in the CTFs, along with having TTiny and MAGIK dominate their way in hard point and TTiny destroying and search and destroy, they kind of have a good player makeup because you're not just relying on one player a lot of the time. It's a matter of guys at different game modes, like kind of in almost every game mode for MAGIK, it was like two guys who were really going to kind of go off. Like I said, in the hard points, it was TTiny and MAGIK. Really, in the search and destroys, it was TTiny and Flawless. In the CTFs, it was either MAGIK and Schillez or Schillez and Flawless. So it was just a matter of like different guys feeling comfortable in different game modes and really kind of showing their stripes, really kind of showing their ability in those exactly. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in for tonight's tournament. Of course, thank you to the competitors. Of course, all teams who obviously competed tonight, especially the guys on VexX and MAGIK for making this one a very interesting final series. Saw Game 2, round 11, along with a near overtime CTF. Of course, one flag difference in that. And then, of course, in hardpoint, it was like a 50-point difference, so a pretty solid hardpoint as well. So, of course, massive props to both these competitors for finishing off in first and second. Massive thank you to, of course, the viewers at home. Thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's